An entitled Karen at a crowded restaurant couldn't take her eyes off me, a Muslim man fasting for Ramadan. As the hunger pangs in my stomach intensified, she demanded to know why I wasn't eating. Little did I know, her hostility was just the beginning of a shocking confrontation. Here's how it all went down. I walked into a crowded restaurant during lunch hour, feeling the heat of the sun on my skin. As a Muslim man, I was fasting for Ramadan, and the hunger pangs in my stomach were starting to intensify. I scanned the faces of the people waiting to be seated, looking for my friends. After a moment, I spotted them sitting at a table in the corner. They were already eating, but I didn't mind. I had made a commitment to socialize with them, and I wasn't going to let my fast get in the way of that. I made my way over to the table, weaving my way through the crowded restaurant. The smell of the food wafted over to me, making my stomach growl. I smiled, knowing that I would be breaking my fast soon enough. "So, how's everyone doing?" I asked, trying to ignore the hunger pangs in my stomach. Everyone at the table started talking at once, catching me up on their latest news and gossip. I was happy just to be around them, even if I couldn't eat with them. But then I saw her, the entitled Karen. She was a middle-aged white woman sitting at the table next to us, eyeing me with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. I tried to ignore her, but her stare was making me uncomfortable. As a traditional Muslim man, I was wearing a kufi cap and a thobe, which may have contributed to Karen's apparent curiosity and disdain. She had been staring at me ever since I arrived at the restaurant. However, I didn't want to make any assumptions about her intentions and tried to ignore her gaze. After a few minutes, I heard her loud voice. "Excuse me, why aren't you eating?" I turned to her and smiled. "Oh, I'm fasting for Ramadan." As I chatted with my friends, I couldn't shake the feeling that the entitled Karen at the next table was still staring at me. I tried to ignore her, but her gaze was making me uncomfortable. Suddenly I heard her mutter under her breath, "Ugh, why do they have to come here and ruin our meals?" I turned to her surprised. "Is there a problem, ma'am?" I asked politely. "Yes, there is," she snapped. "You're in a restaurant and you're not eating. That's rude." "I'm fasting for Ramadan," I explained calmly. "What's Ramadan? Why are you doing that?" she demanded. I took a deep breath and tried not to let her hostility get to me. "Ramadan is a month of fasting and spiritual reflection for Muslims," I began. "We fast from sunrise to sunset every day, abstaining from food, drink, and other physical needs. It's a time to strengthen our faith and show gratitude for our blessings." "That's ridiculous," Karen scoffed. "You don't need to do that. This is America. You should be eating like everyone else." Despite her dismissive attitude, I tried to remain patient with my explanation, hoping to educate her about my culture and beliefs, but Karen wasn't having it. "I don't care what you believe," she snapped. "You're in a restaurant and you're not eating. That's just rude." I took a deep breath and tried to remain calm. "Ma'am, I have every right to be here. This is discrimination." Karen raised her voice. "I'm not discriminating, I just don't want to see you not eating. It's disgusting." I could feel the anger rising within me, but I tried to keep my voice even. "I am fasting for religious reasons. I have every right to be here just like everyone else." Karen glared at me, clearly not satisfied with my explanation. "Well, I don't care. If you're not going to eat, you need to leave." I looked around the restaurant, feeling the eyes of the other patrons on us. I could see the discomfort on their faces, and I knew that this situation was making everyone uneasy. "Ma'am, I am not going to leave," I said firmly. "I have done nothing wrong. I am simply observing my religious beliefs." I took a deep breath, trying to remain calm in the face of Karen's hostility. Just then, the woman sitting at the table next to us spoke up. "Excuse me, but you are being incredibly rude," she said firmly. "This man has every right to be here, and it's none of your business why he's not eating." Another woman sitting nearby chimed in. "Yeah, it's called respect. Maybe you should try it sometime." Karen looked around the restaurant, clearly taken aback by the sudden outpouring of support for me. She seemed to realize that she was in the minority and that her behavior was unacceptable. Just then, the manager of the restaurant approached our table. "Is there a problem here?" he asked. Karen turned to him. "Yes, this man is ruining our meal by not eating." The manager looked at me and then back to Karen. "Ma'am, this man has every right to be here, and it's not your place to comment on his eating habits. If you can't respect the other customers in this restaurant, then I'm afraid you'll have to leave." Karen scowled, clearly unhappy with the turn of events. "Fine," she muttered, getting up from her chair, "but I'm never coming back here again." As she stormed out of the restaurant, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. It was clear that her behavior was not welcome in this establishment, and I was grateful for the support of the other customers and the manager. It's unfortunate that you had to deal with such hostility and ignorance from Karen, but it's heartening to see that there were others in the restaurant who stood up for you. It's important to educate others about different cultures and beliefs, and I'm glad you were able to do so in a calm and patient manner. Hopefully, Karen learned something from this experience and will think twice before making assumptions about others in the future. An entitled friend asked me to tone down my look for her boyfriend's birthday party, but when I refused, things took a turn for the worse. Her boyfriend begged me to come, but my friend continued to demand control over my outfit. Little did I know, there was a dark secret behind her insecurity. Here's how it all went down. Am I the jerk for refusing to go to my friend's boyfriend's party after she demanded to approve my outfit? My 29F friend Kate, 28, has a boyfriend, Jamie, 29, whom she has been with for nearly 3 years. We met Jamie on a night out, and although he's Kate's boyfriend, I consider him a friend. We share an interest in a particular sport that we text about sometimes, and if I have a spare hospitality ticket to one of the sporting fixtures, I will sometimes invite Jamie to go. Jamie's 30th is coming up, and Jamie and Kate planned a big party. I peripherally helped out with logistics when asked. A few days ago, Kate texted me. She asked if I wouldn't mind toning down my look for the party, and if I could send her a picture of what I was planning to wear. I asked her what this meant, and after asking several times if she really had to say it, she asked if I could dress, verbatim, basically what I would consider frumpy, because she really didn't want to be outshone at her own boyfriend's birthday party. When I didn't reply right away, she went on to say that she wanted Jamie's full attention that night, which she wouldn't get if I showed up dressed properly. I was a bit annoyed by what she was implying, so I said, if I was going to be so much of a concern for her, I'd rather just politely decline the invitation. Kate freaked out, saying I was being immature by not coming just because I couldn't steal the spotlight. I said it wasn't about that. It was about her making me responsible for whether or not I drew her boyfriend's attention, which is something I've never tried to do nor done as far as I'm aware. She then said it was really important to Jamie that she stand out because his friends and colleagues would be there. I just told her that again, if she was so worried I was going to be distracting everyone, I'd rather not come than feel humiliated from now until the event. I said I would send her Jamie's gift, and she could tell him why I wasn't coming. I guess she didn't tell him the reason because Jamie messaged me saying he knows I'm booked the night of the party, but he'd really like it if I could be there and asked if I could reorganize so I could come. I hadn't replied, but I got a message from Kate saying she knows Jamie is trying to get me to come and please could I just put my pride aside and come to the party. I asked if she was going to ditch the outfit policing, but she said no, so I said I would not be coming. She didn't reply, but I've since received a couple of texts from mutual friends saying that while her request is ridiculous, Kate is aware of that. She's just desperate to be seen a certain way, and even if it's pathetic, I would probably feel the same way in her shoes. Other friends I've told, who don't know Kate, say I should not bow to the pressure and that she's nuts for even asking. And I don't disagree, but also I feel bad skipping the party when it's Jamie's birthday, and he asked specifically that I come. So, should I be going? Here are some relevant comments underneath the thread. A commenter asked, Info. I know this is probably gonna sound bad, but how good are you two looking compared to each other? The OP replied saying, LOL, this is the world's most uncomfortable and unfair question that absolutely needs to be answered really. I am considered more conventionally attractive than Kate, and have been since we were in school. I will say, over the years, I've had certain enhancements, so the way I look now is not entirely natural, so is probably not a fair comparison anyway, but of the two of us, I've always received more male attention. Another commenter asked, are you and Jamie, the fiancé, actually friends? The OP replied saying, yeah, we're really friends. I'm married, so even if he was single, I wouldn't be. And even if we were both single, he wouldn't be my type, and I've known Kate long enough that she should know that. Someone else asked, is your husband going to the party? The OP replied saying, he will be traveling for work, but even if he was home, he has an incredibly demanding job, and after a 17-hour workday, the last thing he wants to do is go to party, especially with people he doesn't really mesh with. I don't blame him, haha, it's not his vibe. Another person asked, any chance Jamie is into you? The OP replied saying, I really hope not. I was with my husband the night we met Jamie. He actually came over with his boss who was trying to hit on me lol. That would be crazy if he had liked me from then knowing I was taken. I don't think he's into me. He's never given me reason to think he is. That said, I probably wouldn't know because why would he even hint at that if it were the case? Kate has never said he is. He's never said he is. So I'm going to presume that's not the case. Another person questioned, why can't she wear something toned down? The OP replied saying, it's not that it would kill me but I don't know what tone it down means. I own the clothes I own, they fit how they fit, and thanks in no small part to a boatload of estheticians, my face and body are what they are. I'm genuinely not sure what she wants me to do. And B, she didn't say a little, she said frumpy, which to me means she wants to pointedly underdress for the event, which is fundamentally embarrassing, and in my opinion quite rude to show up to an event purposely not being mindful of how formal it is. So no, it wouldn't kill me, but it would make me stand out, just not in a positive way. Lastly, a commenter asked, People question why she texts Jamie and/or is his friend. The OP replied saying, "Why am I texting him? Because we have a mutual interest, and since we met we've talked about that interest. I invite Jamie, maybe twice a year, not often, because my husband buys me all-access type tickets for sporting fixtures, and sometimes ends up not being able to go. And Jamie is the only other person I know who enjoys the sport, and I know he doesn't get the opportunity to go. Kate really doesn't like the sport, and when I've asked her if it's okay to invite Jamie, she's always been enthusiastic about it. For his birthday, I did give them a pair of passes for one of the events, and all she did when I told her I'd send them was to complain that I got him a nicer gift than her. If Kate or Jamie has an issue with the boundary, then I think it's fair to say it's their responsibility to communicate that. For now, OP is voted as not the jerk. Here's her update a week later. First of all, thank you to everyone for the advice. Most responses were not what I was expecting, and really gave me a lot to think about. As surprised as I was that so many people said to tell Jamie, I did realize it was the right thing to do. So I texted him and told him that Kate was insisting I dress a certain way. Jamie called and explained. A couple of months ago, Jamie and Kate were out with a few of his friends. These same friends that I mentioned in my comments are not fond of Kate, and everyone had had a lot to drink. They were talking about how they met their SOs, and the story of Jamie and Kate meeting came up. Apparently, during the telling of the story, Kate asked Jamie why he had decided to hit on her rather than me, and one of his friends joked that it was because he knew he didn't have a shot with the hot one, me. Kate asked if this was true, and Jamie, having had way too much to drink, explained in a way that made it sound kind of true. He said he did notice me that night and thought I was attractive, just seeing me. He said he would never have approached me because he knew he would never have a chance with someone like me. So in that way, his friend was right. He said that speaking to Kate was the absolute best outcome because he loves her and plans on spending the rest of his life with her. But even knowing this, Kate has taken this extremely hard, and even though she says she is over it, he's noticed changes in her behavior that seem to be related to that. He also admitted that he'd been planning to propose to Kate at the party, and that is why he'd wanted me to be there. But after hearing this on top of the way she has been handling the situation previously, he won't be doing that anymore. After speaking to Jamie, I called Kate. She admitted that she had tied a lot of her self-worth in the fact that she'd finally been picked over me, and now it feels like that isn't true. She apologized for trying to solve her insecurities through me, but also said she wasn't sure she would be able to have me in her life as much as I had been with the way she's been feeling. As hurt as I was, I said I understood. She said she still wanted me to come to the party, since I'd helped organize it, and she obviously dropped the absurd dress code, so I will be going to the party. I trust that Kate will communicate her boundaries to Jamie, but I don't plan on inviting him to any more events for the foreseeable future. I'm really sad that I've probably lost a longtime friend over the drunken awkwardness of other people, but I also get that Kate can't help how she feels, and frankly, it's for the best not to be in a secret competition. So, yeah, I'm hurt, but I'm going to the party. Not a satisfying update, but an honest one. OP's next update was rather short. Here's what they said. Going through these comments has actually brought up a couple of memories that have, in hindsight, made me a bit uncomfortable, and I actually don't think I will end up going to this party. As much as the mutual friends will have questions, and I don't know how much of the truth I will end up telling, I feel too weird right now to continue to be involved in this situation. A commenter asked, more info on the boss hitting on her situation, to which OP replied saying, I don't know if he did, but his boss came over and paid for our drinks and was very full on with hitting on me, and he introduced Jamie in a very much, and this is my friend type way. I don't know if he'd have come over to talk to Kate, but he said point blank he would never have come over to talk to me. People commented that it comes across like she's thinking highly of her own beauty in comparison, to which OP replied saying, I'm pretty sure most people have been seen across a room by someone, and that person has thought they were attractive. That happens to the vast majority of people at one point or another. My point is, you almost never end up with those people because in the end, that's not what matters. And, I'm the hot one in the relative bubble of this group of people. I have a friend group where I'm not the hot one. I am aware I'm generally considered good-looking, but I'm definitely not just the hot one in any given situation. And it is a shame people care so much about looks, especially where women are concerned. Just because I happen to acknowledge that I benefit from that, it doesn't mean I think it's a nice thing. Short of taking some kind of militant stance and disfiguring myself, I can't do anything about people thinking I'm attractive, but I also make it a point not to make my life about that, because I know how little being attractive feels like anything most of the time. Regarding pretty privilege and having work done, OP said, I had a breast job because after 6 years of different eating disorders, the weight loss gain cycle had done some not so nice things to my body that I wanted corrected, and I never liked my nose. And yeah, my life is better because of how I look. I wouldn't be married to my husband if this wasn't how I looked. I go backwards and forwards some days on whether I like these facts or not. It's not about having a cross to bear so much as not thinking it's fair to be made to feel like the way I look is an inconvenience to the people around me, which is how I felt through this whole thing. No one has to feel sorry for me for the way I look, and as much as I feel bad for Kate that Jamie and his friends did a jerkish thing, I don't feel sorry for how she looks either. I feel bad that a years-long friendship has been ruined over something as petty as looks. OP also talked about her husband liking her for her looks originally, saying, and this is coming from someone whose husband did, or says he did anyway, ha ha, see them across the room and have a, I have to meet her moment. I love that for him, but he's not the only man who's seen me across the room and wanted to talk to me, but I didn't end up with any of them because lasting relationships go so far beyond that, and in the years since, he's seen hotter women. It doesn't tarnish our relationship. A commenter asked, people asked why it mattered to her so much that her friend asked, because it doesn't hurt to ask, to which OP replied saying, well, I sort of used ask and demand interchangeably there, but fundamentally, asking someone to dress frumpy, which would have been inappropriate for the style of the event because it is a formal party, because you don't want people to look at them, again, debatable how much this even would have happened, is pretty crappy, in my opinion. I like to see my friends being their best selves all the time. I've celebrated every achievement and milestone in my friends' lives whether or not that's something I could achieve or would have wanted to in another life. That's just what friendship means to me. And as much as people would like to make out that I don't ever suffer from insecurity or jealousy, of course I do, but I will never make that friend's problem to solve and make them feel like something that only has to do with me has to do with them, because it doesn't. That's not being a friend to me. Especially because Kate knows that how I dress is as much a part of who I am as my sense of humor, and I have always done it to alleviate social anxiety, not as some ploy to draw people's attention. A commenter criticized her for not being sadder for Kate, to which OP replied saying, I already said what Jamie said was crappy, and what his friend said is crappy. I've met them multiple times. They're kind of crappy people in general. I'm just not surprised one of them pulled that kind of crap, frankly. And no, Jamie and I would not have hit it off. I was dating my now husband at the time, and even if I wasn't, never in a million years would I have hit it off with Jamie. I don't like him like that. We are very different people. We do not vibe on that level. I am absolutely sad for Kate that this is how things played out, and I'm sad that years of friendship has to go down the drain over Jamie, because my God is he not worth it. But, I have realized over the course of this whole incident that Jamie is not the beginning and end of the issues between me and Kate, her self-esteem being partially dependent on winning over me in a competition I didn't know we were in, isn't the way you think about a friend, and it was never how I thought about her. And for her to try to embarrass me, or pull me up for some imagined slight based on something that never had anything to do with me in the first place, isn't being a good friend either. And I would have worked on it. Honestly, I would have, because I love her, but she doesn't want to, which is fine. But I won't be pretending she was in the right for how she's handled this in regard to me, because she isn't. A commenter asked if Jamie thought of himself as better looking. Would he have gone for her? To which OP replied saying, in an uncomfortable twist, I've worked out it's actually not because of his looks. It's because he's not richer. A commenter criticized her for not staying friends with Kate, to which OP replied saying, I don't plan on being friends with Jamie after this, so I have dropped him. As I said in the update, Kate doesn't feel she wants to be my friend right now. That's totally fine, but I'm also not going to run after Kate and beg her to be my friend because honestly, she didn't handle this right. For someone who has been my friend for more than a decade to take her issues with her admittedly crappy boyfriend out on me when I had no part in it, and then attempting to use me to rectify a slight I didn't even know about and certainly didn't commit, that's not her being a good friend either. I was her friend long before Jamie's, long enough to deserve honesty and better from her. It's always interesting to hear about the dynamics between friends and how jealousy and insecurity can rear their ugly heads. It's sad to see a longtime friendship end over something like this, but it seems like OP did the right thing in standing up for herself and not letting her friend dictate what she wears. And the twist at the end about Jamie's true motivations is just wild. Thanks for sharing this story. It definitely got me thinking. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to check out the other videos on your screen too. Subscribe now or you're definitely the jerk.